It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunters Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stand.
And don't forget you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. Host Mike Adams sitting in a very warm cabin tonight.
It is warm in the cabin.
Mr. DeFall, what is going on, my man?
I tell you what, it is downright fall gorgeous weekend out there.
It was beautiful, man. I worked outside. You know, I wanted to go up north. I chose to stay home because I have to work next weekend. Next weekend was going to be my wrap all my activities up outside so I could go hunting for a week. So I knew I had to get it done this weekend, so I decided to stay home. And I missed the cold front coming through. Saturday was beautiful. Today was beautiful.
That cold front blew through was right. It was windy.
Yeah, I should have. It was windy, but I still would have loved to have been on a tree. So that's where it goes. Before we get started tonight, we started with Hunters Blend Coffee yesterday. We've got a giveaway coming.
Yep.
So you guys, if you're watching the live stream, right below, actually, it's at the top. We got it pinned to the top of the page. Look above, at the very top of the page, we got the contest going. For those of you on the podcast, we're going to explain what's going on here. So on our page, go over to that post and make a comment on it. And what we want you, not even really a comment, but in the comment section, we want you to tag 2 of your friends, okay? And then you need to go over to the Hunters Blend page, Facebook page, and give them a follow and a like. And if you win, you're going to get 2 bags, Hunters Blend Coffee right here, like we got right here, and one of these tumblers right here, okay?
Not only do you win, though.
The 2 people you tag in the comment on our page, in the contest post, will also get a bag each of Hunters Blend Coffee. So Hunters Blend wants to get the good word out about great coffee. You've heard us talking about it.
You've seen us drinking it.
Yeah, got it right here tonight. Got 2 new fancy mugs here.
Right.
That I love. They're really cool. I wouldn't have them in the deer stand, but here on the show, they're awesome.
Aluminum.
Absolutely. So get over to our page, make a comment, tag 2 of your friends. You can enter as many times as you'd like.
Many friends as you can tag away.
Yep. And we'd appreciate it if you'd share it as well. So,
absolutely.
So when we get done, we're going to tell you again here at the end of the show, but we want you to get over to our page and check it out.
And besides the contest we're running, if you just want to go over to huntersblendcoffee.com and want to make a purchase, while you're there checking out, if you go ahead and use the promo code capital UNJ, they'll give you 10% off your order.
That's right.
So you can enter a contest, go to the website, and get some 10% off.
Absolutely.
Just use our code capital UNJ.
So there you go. All right. So let's get into it, man. What are we going to start with tonight?
Well, during the week, we received a email from Anthony Thompson,
okay,
who is not a hunter but wants to get involved in hunting.
Okay.
And his question was, how does a newbie get into hunting?
Okay. Actually, I think, is this the same person that's actually on that chimed in on the show
yes.
here? Okay.
Yes, it is.
First off, I'm going to ask, what type of hunting? What are we talking? Small game? Are we talking predator hunting? Are we talking deer hunting? Are we talking turkey hunting? What type of hunting? I'm assuming this time of year we're probably talking about deer hunting.
I'm going to go with deer hunting.
I'm guessing.
Let's go with deer hunting since it is that time of year. And
right. So the next question would be archery season, deer season. Probably going to be, firearm season. Probably going to be firearm season, I would assume. So we'll wait for...
You'll see if we get a response. But either way, I think one of the biggest things he should do is look into a hunter safety course.
Absolutely. That was going to be my first suggestion, is get to a hunter safety course, get your hunter safety card, and that way you can get a license. That way you can hunt by yourself. You don't have to have a mentor with you.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, that was going to be my second wave of possibilities of things to do.
Ran out of coffee.
I see that. But, yeah, definitely you want to check into your hunter safety courses. Definitely get into one of those. Take it. It's worth it. Just the sheer learning some of the facts of what, where, how, what to do, when to do it, how to, proper carrying of the gun. Then you'll have to go take your field course, which is not really a big deal.
No, just shooting a shotgun, I believe.
Only time it is a big deal is if you never shot a gun. So,
and if you haven't done that, what I would suggest is finding somebody that that you're familiar with and go to a gun range with that person and have them go through some basic safety tips and techniques and just get used to shooting a gun.
Absolutely. So he responded with deer or turkey.
Okay.
So get to know the firearm you're going to be using, or obviously if it's a bow or crossbow, start practicing.
Yep, absolutely.
But definitely get your hunter safety course under your belt. Get that taken care of. It's good to have. Don't be afraid. It's all age groups.
Yep.
Don't think you're going to be walking into something where there's only kids.
Yep.
Or no. I retook them with my daughter.
I took them with every one of my kids.
Yep. So we used them as refresher courses.
You know what? And every time I went, I always learned something new.
Absolutely.
Every single time, even from the first time that I took it when I was a kid.
And that's one of the big things is what I tell you the truth, it's one of those things I think this state is starting to lack, is that getting the kids to actually physically go to them instead of taking it online.
Yeah, I don't like the online deal.
I'm not a fan of it.
I think you miss so much personal not even so much one-on-one, but group discussion, because questions get brought up, and kids always ask that question that, like, wow, I never thought of that. And put yourself in a situation, by asking that question, and thinking ahead of, like, wow, it's just, that's a good question,
right?
And then thinking it through critically.
Yeah, and both my girls, when they took it, we were able to go over to the Sportsman's place, sit there for the weekend together, and it was a full house. Mm-hmm. But they had, I would say, anywhere from 6 to 8 people giving the class, and it was great. I thought it was really well done.
Okay, he just put on here archery.
Right. So, archery, start practicing.
Yeah, archery season actually opened up 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, but take a step back. Do you have a bow yet, or do you need to get one?
Yep. And if you have a bow, have you been shooting?
Yep.
That's probably the next question, because there's a lot of guys out there that shoot target archery that have never been out hunting before. So that is another process to go through. Is you know how to shoot, you know how to aim, your bow's tuned, you're ready to go, you've shot, and practiced enough to be able to get out there.
Absolutely, but it's a whole different game when you put an animal in front of what your target is.
Yep. I would suggest first-time hunter, I would not tree stand hunt, just because that's a whole different dynamic. I would be looking for maybe a ground blind, pop-up blind. They sell it at all the big box stores. Cabela's,
you can do that. You can start off with the pop-up blind and work your way up, getting in. Then exactly the same thing with your. He doesn't have a bow. Okay, so
bow.
All right, so he's gonna have to go make a purchase.
Yep.
Or unless he has somebody that is similar to him, that he can buy is going to buy somebody's bow off them. Mm-hmm. But he'll need to take it to a pro shop, get it adjusted for him.
And I would actually think about getting some lessons.
Yep.
Probably not. Actually, this year I would say probably not going to happen for hunting. Just because if you don't have a bow, if you've not really shot a lot, you need to get in tune with the gear that you're going to use.
Exactly.
And with archery, it does take a little bit of time. Not trying to discourage you or anything, but it does take time to get proficient.
It's not something like a gun. You can set it on a bench, tune it in, and you're ready to go. Mm-hmm. But archery is a little bit different. There's a little bit more to the mechanics. There's a little bit more to everything that goes on with a bow.
A lot of muscle memory.
Plus, you're going to be spending on the bow. You're going to be spending on the arrows. You're going to be spending on the field tips to the blades, the broadheads. You're going to have to purchase all this stuff, and then you're going to have to put it all into motion to shoot. Mm-hmm. And getting proficient at that point at 20 yards is the first step.
You know what? Oh, but he says he knows how to shoot one. Okay. I would probably, if being in the Detroit area, I'm trying to think of the shop that's down there, the big archery shop. Is it MJC, Danny?
MJC, yeah. MJC is at 15 in Groesbeck.
Okay.
Or I think they have one in Royal Oak.
Okay.
And there's more archery up on Van Dyke and Hall Road.
Okay. So start maybe getting into a shop, talking with some people, letting them know what you want to do. Start shooting some bows at the shop, figuring out what fits you. And that's a whole nother dynamic. You need somebody that really knows archery equipment very well to be able to help set you up and get you into a good fit.
Now, Tony, are you going to be coming out this way, or because there's a bunch of archery shops on this side of town from Detroit. So I don't know where exactly in Detroit you're located. So there's plenty of places to go to.
But that's kind of where I would start. Start looking at a bow, looking at what your budget is. Tell them what your budget is when you go in the store, and have that hard set in your mind to know what you're going to spend. So that way they can tailor the type of equipment that they can offer you to try out.
He wants to get ready for next season, so he's already got that.
Okay, there you go.
He's already got mindset. This is for next season.
That's good.
So he's going to have almost a year to practice.
Spring turkey season.
Well, if he wants to get off there for turkey, so he's going to have 6 months.
Right. And then maybe look at joining a local archery club as well, just to get out through the winter, being able to shoot, and use that time as your practice.
And I do believe MJC and more both have places where you can go there and shoot. So during the winter. Yeah,
because outdoor winter, I wouldn't recommend shooting outside in the winter. It's a little rough here in Michigan. So.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
So
let's say he's got the bow. Let's say he's ready to go.
He's got the bow. He's all set. He went to his local archery and just started practicing, right?
Yep.
I know more archery they do have the range from 0 to 50, I do believe is the long shot. So it's a great range. I've been shooting there a couple times. But yeah, definitely now's the time to start putting in those winter hours to start shooting. Because before you know it, we'll be talking spring turkey.
Yeah, ice will be out, and all of a sudden it's going to be March, and we're going to be somewhere talking turkey, and before you know it, we'll be in the woods. So that's kind of the way I would start. And then so where do you find a place? Well, if you don't know anybody that owns land, I would look at state land. Obviously,
you're going to have to do some looking for which way you want to head to start doing some turkey reconnaissance. We know we got our spots here, but every year they slightly change or become less appealing or whatever it might be. So you might want to start thinking about that probably beginning of next year, because we do got to put in our turkey tags for the month of February, right?
It has to be in by January.
So it's the month of January.
31st, I believe. Is it the 1st of January we can start putting in, or is it the 1st of February?
I thought it was the month of February. We'll have to look.
We'll definitely
have to verify.
But anyway.
Anyways, so you're going to have to start getting that into mind. You're going to have to start doing some scouting. I don't know how much time you have to put in for scouting. I know I will start in the spring. Just start cruising around and checking fields out to see if they're out in the field, if I can get out there doing some glassing with the binoculars.
If you're going to use archery equipment for turkey season, you got to have a pop-up blind. I highly recommend it.
It would be best to go with a pop-up blind.
Because, going through that whole motion of drawing and shooting, turkey's eyesight is by far the best there is of any of the game species out there. So in order to be able to execute a shot without getting picked off, pop-up blind's definitely the way to go. So.
Right. Tony, so you're by Grosse Pointe. Okay, I know exactly where you're at. You want to go to MJC. Over on 15 in Groesbeck.
There you go.
Go there. I'll tell you that right now.
And obviously, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that PSC makes a full lineup from youth bows all the way to adult bows of every price range, every size.
Right.
So
and don't be afraid to go check out Cabela's, because they have some mainline bows there. A matter of fact, I used one this year, the Ferocity.
Yep.
I do believe the price tag would come in at about $600.
Is that a field ready?
You can't beat the bow. I mean, it is rock solid, and so don't be afraid to go to Cabela's, check them out, and then go from there. The mainline bows that they got from PSE, obviously PSE, but make sure if you're going to be getting your own bow that you shoot several different ones. Just don't grab the first one, shoot it, and say it's good. Take the time, take a couple hours out of your time, whether you go to a MJC or you go to a Cabela's, have them run you through 2-3 different bows. Get some couple shots under your belt. feeling how it feels in your hand, the draw cycle, the valley, the whole 9 yards, and you'll come to a conclusion that this one feels good.
Yeah.
That's the one to buy.
Yeah. And like I said, obviously we like PSE, but there's many manufacturers out there. Just get out there, shoot a bunch of different ones, and get something in your hands that feels good and that you're confident with. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. There's also going to be, I don't know when you're looking, I don't know when you're looking for buying, if you're going to be buying this year or next year, but the start of next year, as you'll hear on the show, January is like the month of shows. So you can actually go to I think they're going to have one in Lansing. They're going to have a couple of them around. And you can go there and find the different manufacturers to shoot there as well.
Yep, that's at the Deer and Turkey Classic.
Yep.
I believe that is usually around Valentine's Day in February, because I always got to sneak out of the house so I get in Shanghai.
Right? Chris, that's pretty funny. What he was out youth hunting, right?
Uh-huh.
We were talking about this Friday night. If a deer had turkey's eyes and a coyote's nose, we'd never kill him.
There you go. Jim Miller says attend a spring wild turkey workshop. Ours at Williams Gun Site in Davison is April 6th. Absolutely. That's an excellent piece of information there, Jim, as far as learning the species you're going to hunt. So,
and matter of fact, if you attend that one, Jim Miller is the president of that.
That's right.
So go there and find Jim Miller and tell him who you are, and you guys are on the same thread talking back and forth here. So
yep, absolutely.
Get with Jim, and he'll help you out tremendously.
He might even have a cup of coffee there, hot and ready for you. Hopefully, it's Hunter's Blend.
Right.
So, but that's kind of where I would start. That would get you going and get you out in the field. And find somebody around you close too that's into hunting. Start checking out some forums and things if you don't know anybody. And find somebody maybe at the archery shop or maybe at archery league or what have you that you kind of become friends with, and maybe do a buddy style hunt, just to kind of get that first time out in the woods.
That's how it started with me and Mike, and he wants to buy one for him for Christmas. So he wants to put it under the tree.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is definitely go over to MJC, see what they got in their lineup, see what they got left from 2018. I knew the 2019s are rolling in.
Yep.
So you might be able to swing a deal.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I'll tell you what, we need to take a break. So we're going to step outside. We're going to take our first break. We come back. We'll continue on this path here just a little bit. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. A lot of good talk right now.
Absolutely.
On the live stream, in the break here, for those of you on the podcast. A buddy of ours, Dan Anderson, out of Wisconsin, right? He kind of went through the same thing with bow hunting or getting a bow and all that, but he said he didn't get things right until he got to an archery shop. And Tony, I think that's really the big key here, is having somebody help you work through,
help you fit the bow to you, because I've seen
important.
I've seen a lot of, hey, my buddy gave me this bow, and well, first thing, it's 70 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can you pull back 70?
Right. Is it the right draw length?
Is it the right draw? Well, hold on. So,
if you're a tall stature, does it fit you properly? If you're short stature, does it fit you properly?
Right, exactly. And then
you want a short brace height or a big brace height. Those things are all play into things. And being a new person with a bow, and maybe you don't even know what we're talking about with those terms, and that's where a pro shop comes in. I remember. I'm not going to mention any names, but a guy that I'm friends with, we were all shooting one night, and this was 10 years ago maybe, and we're all shooting, and we're shooting 20 yards at a range, and we're stacking them in there, and he's like, he's just frustrated. He's like, I just don't know what to do. I can't shoot like you guys. I'm like, let me see you shoot. So he draws, and this is what he did. In his anchor point, the string was behind his ear. and he's floating out here.
Really?
And he leans into it. I'm like, draw down. You're gonna take your ear off. It was like a 28 inch draw bow,
and he probably should have been in like
24 and a half.
There you go.
His 24 and a half was what it wound up being. So I had to get different cams for the bow. Back then, they didn't have the screw set mods like we do now.
Oh, I tell you what, there's one thing that the bow companies have zeroed in, and especially PSE, because we've dealt with them, how easy it is. You used to have to take them, put them in a bow press, change the mod out, shorten it up. Now, with PSE and others, you just take it, look at it, and go, okay, unscrew this, go to the next letter, screw it back in, change the stops, away you go.
Yep, half-inch increments.
Yep, half-inch increments. It's a beautiful thing, and it's something that a pro shop, once they tune you in, you're probably not going to change, because they will, depending on the release and how they get you set up, but that would be a great place to start.
Well, once we got this person tuned in, everything went from like shooting like this to like this.
There you go.
It became fun for him. I mean, it brought everything together. And that is just having somebody work with you that knows what to do.
Right.
And knows the ins and outs of a bow. And a pro shop, man, that's the way to go.
Yep,
have
definitely.
a pro shop help you.
Let us know when you get over there and who you go talk to. We'll give them a shout out, because if they help you. I'm on that side of town anyways. So I think go over the MJC would be a good start.
Okay. So let's start with that.
Let's start there. And once we get past that, we'll go to step 2 of getting you out in the woods about turkey. Jim Miller, definitely get hitting that turkey workshop up. Starting to learn more about what you want to go after.
When that happens, that turkey workshop, he said, was March 6th, I believe.
That was...
I do believe. Anyway,
yeah,
whatever weekend that is, we'll do our best. April 6th. We'll do our best to be there for that. If we don't have to be somewhere else. So
that's right, Charles. No doubt about it. Charles says shoot 10 different bows and then maybe 10 more before you buy one.
I highly agree with that.
Absolutely. We did,
highly agree with that.
I don't know if the bow shop he goes to has 10 different bows, but I know MJC will be a good selection.
They've probably got 30.
Probably.
Or 40.
But when you go, tell them the lowdown. I'm new.
Yeah.
I want to take my time, and I want to shoot different ones.
And tell them your budget.
Yep. And tell them I got this, and that's where I want to be, and I want to shoot different ones.
Yep. And
if you don't feel comfortable, don't. If you feel like you're being rushed or anything like that, just as kind of like a car salesman type perk. You're going to buy. No.
Take your time.
Yep, take your time.
Even if it takes a couple of weeks or more to make that decision.
Yep.
So that's
it in a nutshell to get you a bow. You've got your class, you've got everything ready to go. You just got to go out and start test driving.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about the poundage being. I know you hear some people say, "Oh, you got to shoot 70, you got to shoot 80." No, I shot 55 this year.
My daughter killed a bow with a 35-pound draw.
Gabby was shooting.
Or killed a deer with her bow. Killed a deer with her bow at 35 pounds.
Gabby was shooting, I think she was at 35.
Yeah, so there you go.
So, yep.
All right, so what other good stuff we got to talk about tonight?
Well, you got something going on. You found it on Facebook. Did we want to go there, or did you want to go? Oh, you know what? Because you told me to remind you, but you were talking dirty before the show. But you're talking dirty food plots.
I was talking dirty food plots.
What is a dirty food plot?
Obviously, if you have to ask me that question, you haven't read your newest issue of Gamekeeper magazine.
I probably haven't, because it's probably still in the mailbox for all that. You said it came Friday?
I think it was Friday, yeah.
It's probably still in the mailbox.
And actually, I want to give a quick shout out to Lincoln Roan of Packer Max, who is now, I believe he's teamed up with Moss Yoken Gamekeepers, and he's got an ad with his Packer Max Cultipacker in the magazine. So, but a dirty food plot, I had never heard that term before. What do you think of when you plan a food plot? When you say what is a dirty food plot, I'm thinking a food plot that has been maybe overtaken by weeds, maybe overtaken by something you don't want growing in there. Because
being let's say a clean food plot would be a luscious green of what you planted, no weeds, no nothing. So I'm trying to say, okay, dirty. What would dirty be? That's what I'm thinking. Overweeds, not the species you were looking for. Something got in there maybe and killed it.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. What's your idea of the ideal food plot?
A nice, luscious green pasture that's got a dead deer in it that I'm standing behind, holding.
Okay, right. Okay. What you see in magazines,
Yeah,
green
I'd
food
like
plot.
a nice green food plot that the deer are able to come in and just eat and move on, or that's what I'll say.
Okay. Nice and manicured. It's square, rectangular, what have you.
Whatever the shape.
Okay,
It could be a kidney bean. It depends on the lay of the land. Because I've got a square food plot. I've got like a Y, and I've got like I guess a T.
Okay. Nice and straight borders. Or curved,
curve. A curve. If you stand in one corner, you can't see the other corner because it curves around.
Gotcha. Okay, the whole premise of this, and it's what the title got me intrigued into this article. And it makes a lot of sense. What they're talking about a dirty food plot is, it doesn't have nice, clean edges. The edges are irregular. It's not square. It's not curved. I mean, it's got, a little something sticking out here or there. It's got broken edges, okay?
Okay.
That's one thing. The other thing is it probably has got some weeds in it and maybe some native species that grow up into that field along with your food.
Okay. Yep.
Also, maybe it's got a down tree, that a big tree fell over and broke up an edge. Maybe there's, some native grasses growing along the edge that's real tall, and it's broken up. It's not a clean, pristine food plot.
Square, nice cultivated edge.
Yeah. And okay. And what's your thought on that? When somebody said, "There's my food plot," and what I just described is what you saw?
I would think depending on where you're at, like down here in the south, or they tend to be able to get more of a clean cut, I guess.
Right.
Whereas mine, exactly that. Now you can walk the edges, but it's not. Right now it is because we had the bulldozer came in and was able to lay that in there.
Right.
But it's I think that would be better for natural tendencies of an animal.
Bingo. And that's what they were getting at. That was the whole thing that they were trying to make sure I don't spill my coffee.
Yeah, don't spill it.
Actually, I didn't unscrew this enough. That's what they were trying to get at, though.
See, Ron Moses shows up late and he's already going, "Oh my, dirty."
But they're talking about, mature bucks feel more comfortable in a quote unquote dirty food plot.
Well,
it's more natural to them. There's quick escape. There's cover. It's got cover built right next to it, and that's what they're talking about.
And I think on my one food plot that's basically in the woods, that's kind of like the Y shape. Mm-hmm. They got that. Okay. That's one thing that they got there that I thought was it was almost a natural fit to go in there. The other one, what's starting to happen on my T-shaped one is the poplars are starting to define the border.
Right.
So besides their little trail coming in, if they need to escape,
they've got cover to get
into. They are like in it in a heartbeat.
And you know what my food plot looks like.
Yep.
I'm thinking of that east line towards that corner. That's more of mine is that way in that east and northern corner of my food plot. Mm-hmm. You look at the west side, it's open.
Right.
It's really open. And I'm thinking, I've always wanted to put something there to block that view from the food plot to the 2-track. Because there's, 40 yards maybe, 40, 50 yards. It needs to be filled in because it's got the tall canopy oaks. And it's wide open.
Yeah, you can, when you're walking that 2-track, you can look over and there's your food plot. Right?
So, it made a lot of sense when I read that, but I'd never heard that term dirty food plot. And it does make a lot of sense that a mature buck would like something like that and have good cover to get into quickly. Broken edges. It doesn't look like it's been man-made. It looks more natural and more inviting too.
Well, one of the theories also when if you read these books on food plots and how to make them, if you've got a big one, a big food plot, they even insist maybe putting a couple, like if you got, let's say, a square one, even breaking it up every 30 yards with a hedge or something, getting something in there.
A hedge, or maybe leave it feral.
Yep, that the deer can't see all the way across that field.
Actually letting it grow and getting tall.
You letting it grow and get tall. Make him work instead of like popping out at one corner, being able to scan the whole entire food plot,
right,
and then just turn around and leave. Make him go, oh, now I got to walk 40 yards to get to the next and look in there and so on.
It actually, you know, where, like at the south end of my field, where it necks down and it gets real narrow, it's got that narrow long strip.
Yep.
There's a down tree there that's been there for years, a big oak, huge oak, and it's parallel to my food plot, right on the edge. I mean, it's maybe 10 feet off of it.
Okay.
And here lately, that's where the bigger bucks have been coming through.
Oh, okay.
We're seeing, you know, we're starting to see some movement through that area there. So, and that's what they're talking about. It's like, well, if you've got, maybe you're doing a thinning on your property and you're cutting down some pines, and, you know, and like up here, white pine to us is really not worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, they chip them and send them to the fuel factory to make electricity. But instead of getting rid of them that way, maybe take and pile some up in piles and break those edges up, you know, and give them some cover or give them a barrier to where they feel secure.
Yeah, absolutely. Pines are the perfect for that because you really can't burn them in a wood burning stove anyways because of the sap.
Right.
So why not use them for just that, right? Start using them. You got to cut them out because after a while they're useless for us in the woods. So why not cut them down? Start building exactly what you said.
So dirty food plots.
All right. So I was kind of close. Did they say anything about the weeds being dirty?
They said there's not, you know, if you've got some natural vegetation growing up through them, that's, you know, like native to that area, you know, because you and I have discussed this many times before about food plots versus natural forage.
Yep.
You know, that those natural forage fields or a feral field, you know, where there's I forget the term I'm trying to think off the top of my head that I learned about, but, you know, letting that thing grow up and letting the natural forbs come up for them to eat.
Right, and there's a couple of spots on the property now from the logging that have kind of like that, where there's not really a lot of trees.
Right.
So we're not going to do anything with them anyways. What I did is I made my food plots of where the bulldozer was already taking off that first layer of land of the soil for me.
Okay.
And I just use that. So, but yeah, it gives them that natural grass to wander through along with the...
Right.
Okay. So that is a dirty food plot.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And with that, I think we need to take another break. So we're going to step outside real quick. We'll take our second break, and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
And welcome back. Third segment of the show. Talking about dirty food plots, talking about new hunters.
Right.
So, speaking of hunting and food plots and archery season, I ran across something today.
Did you now?
On Facebook, actually, yes. And let's see, I've already showed you. Call that up there.
I'm bringing it up right now.
You've heard us talk about deer management. We've talked about...
well, you've heard us talk with Lincoln Road.
Lincoln from the...
Let Them Go, Let Them Grow.
Michigan APR group.
And there's also the Michigan Thumb that's doing the survey.
Yep, they're doing the survey, hoping to get APRs passed in the Thumb region next year? Year after?
I think
3 years?
I think they're trying to get the survey done so it could be brought up for next year to have the 3 year.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when, but anyway, there's two groups that are working that here in Michigan. And today I actually ran across I can see it now. A group out of West Virginia, and it's called West Virginia Hunters for Better Buck Management. And I was really intrigued by this. And basically, in the state of West Virginia, they're looking to do the same type of thing there. And they've been talking on their page about APRs, you know, $1, $2 limit. And the way I read this is now you can shoot $3 in the state of West Virginia per season. I do believe. No, I may be wrong on it, but that's what it sounds like. And there was a questionnaire put out.
Right. So they quick shout out to Bob and Cindy Shirty from Fraser, Michigan, my hometown. So this group, West Virginia Hunters for the Better Buck Management, found on Facebook. They want to get this petition out, and they give you 4 choices, 4 options. Now, you said that you think they can take 3.
I think the current structure set up for $3 limit.
So the options are 1, a $1 limit with antler restrictions. 2 is a $1 limit without antler restrictions. Number 3 is a $2 limit with antler restrictions on $1. That'd be like our dual tag here.
Right.
Or $2 with no antler restrictions at all.
Which is, I believe, what is currently happening in the CWD zone.
In the CWD zone here in Michigan,
is that right?
on the dual tag, they removed all APRs off of them, and you can shoot whatever you want.
So that is the questionnaire that they're posting, or the petition they're putting out for you to sign and all that. But hoping to find out more about these guys out of West Virginia. But it sounds like, we've talked about it a lot here in Michigan. I know other states have got APRs. Missouri had some, then they pull some back because of CWD. And I wonder, didn't we talk to Tim Sias about this? They've got CWD.
They have it in one little corner
of the state.
And he showed us the little the manual, and they did go over it with a little bit of a section that said CWD, what you needed to do.
Okay.
And what you needed to do and how to take care of it.
I wonder if this is a result of that, or if it's just they just want better buck management. And it has nothing to do with that. So I'm going to reach out to these guys and hopefully find out a little more about it and try to figure out just what they're all about. Because I believe in deer management. This is gearing towards buck management, but it all goes together, it plays hand in hand.
So basically, they're kind of. I don't know who's older, whether Lincoln's group is older or who's, but their purpose is to create a meaningful interaction between like-minded sportsmen and the West Virginia DNR and the DNR Commission. I wonder if they'll have just as much fun talking to them as.
Hopefully, they have better luck than we've had.
Right. They want to change the laws for game management practices that are conductive in developing a varying age structure where more bucks reach maturity, and the buck-to-doe ratio is even more balanced than what it is today. Like they say, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and so that's what this group's doing.
Okay. Tim just said, he says, yes, you can. Archery, firearms, and black powder. Plus, if you buy additional tags, you can actually kill more. So really up to $4. But you have to kill a doe along with them.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, they're trying to get down to a $1 or $2 limit, it looks like. Maybe
according to the survey,
APRs.
According to the survey, they are looking at a $1 or $2 limit, so almost cutting it in half.
Yeah.
So they're starting to kind of look down the road and say, okay, if everybody shot $4, what would happen?
Right.
You have to shoot a doe, but that's still you're shooting $4 to the one doe.
Right.
And we know how that usually tends to work out if you don't shoot enough does.
And like here, he says the DNR Commission is the true law, much like here the NRC, what we call our NRC Natural Resource Commission.
Yes.
Sets the regulations for the DNR enforces them.
Yep, exactly. That's so they're going to start. Looks like they're working on it. Hopefully, like Mike said here, learning more about this group so we can kind of find out what's going on in other states. We always talk about what we are here in Michigan because we're right here.
Right.
But having West Virginia, being friends with Tim, him kind of filling us in on what goes on in West Virginia.
Absolutely.
I think it's good to see. Plus, what better way to reach out than social media, right?
Absolutely. And what I like about this is whether you agree with APRs or not, the fact is hunters now are starting to engage with the DNR and other groups in trying to have better dynamics within the herd, the deer herd. They're looking to better the outdoor experience. They're looking to help the outdoor, the habitat, the whole 9 yards. And that's what I like to see. Because when I was a kid, my dad, we never talked about this at all.
Well, that's, they're opening the lines of communication instead of being a dictation or not knowing what they're doing.
Right.
They're trying to find out what our DNR, or in that case, West Virginia's DNR, how do you go about doing what you do? And, let's help each other. You know, we're an open voice. We want to talk with you guys, find out what's going on. Like Lincoln Roan's group, every other group that we have in Michigan, they all are trying to talk with the DNR for a better
herd dynamic.
Imagine that. We're trying to we're just not just going out and killing them.
No. You know, we're trying to control or contain, not control, but contain, you know, the spread of disease, whether it be TB or whether it be CWD. I think hunters now are becoming more engaged and more in tune with what's going on in the outdoors. Like you said, it's not just a go out and bang it, bang, 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 you know, shoot.
Right.
You know, it's more, there's more to it now with the hunters today than there is 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
And here's a point by Tim on the feed. All these hunters are wanting are nice trophies in all the state, much like our archery-only counties.
Okay.
So they must be getting better bucks out of their archery-only counties.
Okay.
And now they're saying, hey, hold on.
And Tim, if you could answer a question here for us on that, the buck that you posted this week or sent me a picture of, was that from an archery-only county? It seems like I remember hearing that.
Okay.
That old big buck. I think that, if I remember, that was an archery-only county that he had mentioned, and that now explains what he was talking about. So
right, exactly. And, you know, and they might be catching on. Mm-hmm. So, hey, why don't they start, you know, developing the whole state into a viable, and it's only going to help not only the hunters in the state, but it brings in money from out of state.
Absolutely. We've talked about that. I don't know.
And matter of fact, we were kind of looking at this before the show started. We were reading some of the feeds, and somebody had mentioned that the DNR is only interested in money, right? Well, here's your chance to better the deer herd and bring money from outside the state.
By out-of-state hunters wanting to come and take bigger bucks, bigger trophy bucks, what have you.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. You know, we understand the money game. You got to have money to, but there's good ways to go about it and bad ways to go about it.
Absolutely.
So them getting out there and showing that your state is, you know, everybody wants to go hunt the Iowas or the Kansases or the Texases. Mm-hmm. You know, they want to have the same thing like Michigan. Come to Michigan, come to West Virginia.
Right, why not?
So,
you know, so that's kind of what's going on here in Michigan. It looks like this mindset is starting to catch on in other places, obviously. This group has 18,000 members, over 18,000 members to it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know because I'm not part of it yet.
It showed up, I believe it's over 18,000. And then Lincoln's group, I think, is well over 30,000 now. So.
Oh, Tim says there's a catch-22 question on that.
Okay.
Really?
And that would be?
I'm sure he's going to fill us in, I hope.
Start typing, Tim.
Yes. Tim, type.
You know, and that's the reason we want to be able to talk to some people in other states because, number one, we don't know their game laws. We don't know the hunting situations there. We don't know the herd dynamics there. So that's what's good about this. We can start talking to different people in different areas
and getting their feedback on it. And, you know, they might be a new group. They might be a ranting group. They might be something totally we don't know about. But if we can, you know, we got Tim down there, you know, a homegrown guy, so we can hopefully get some answers from both him and the group.
You're right. You know, and it's just like I said, it's just going to further your outdoor experience, helping the herd dynamics, and that's really that's all we want. I think is to see improvement in hunting, see improvement in habitat, and see improvement in disease control, and just doing it the right way. You know, so we got something that we can leave for our kids. You know, later on. So
absolutely.
Here we go. I can't read the whole question on mine here.
I'm waiting for. Oh, here it is. But when all the out-of-state hunters lease the land, that hurts the economy benefits of the situation.
You know, I do understand that. I really do. But I think when we look at like Michigan, you know, even the situation that we're in right now, we're losing hunters every day. And I think that's the bigger issue is trying to keep people engaged, getting the youth of today involved in the outdoors and getting them to partake in it and have that lifestyle like we grew up with. You know, that's the thing that I want to instill.
Right.
Leased land, that's a whole nother ballgame.
That's a whole, because Michigan, a lot of the hunters come here that are from out of state. There's plenty of northern state land, federal land to go hunt on.
Right. And that might not be the case in West Virginia. I don't know.
We don't know. So, speaking of lease land, I don't know if you saw a week or two back, Lincoln Roan's lease in Illinois.
No, I did not.
He had a camera up on it. Yeah, there was ducks floating by the camera.
Nice.
It was flooded.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, so they got a little rain, did they? But yeah, I understand the catch-22.
Taking over land we grew up hunting, now we can't.
Right. I do understand that because farmers are going to want to get a better income, so they're going to lease that land.
Absolutely.
I do understand that. And that's a tough dynamic, and that's a tough thing to work around. And I think, truthfully, if we are stewards of the land and we start working together with our neighbors, forming co-ops, and you bring that farmer in. That's the one thing, when I went to the Deer Rendezvous this year, they talked about working hand in hand with your local farmers.
Okay.
And getting them to buy into working with us. It's like, well, they're eating all my crops. I'm going to lease the land. Well, you know what? Let me come over and help you, and let's take some of the dough off that property. Let's get that herd dynamic down. Let's get the population down. Start working with them, with surrounding landowners, and helping them out.
Right?
It is. It's a catch-22.
It's definitely a catch-22, but you got to work through it.
Yep.
There's got to be a happy medium.
There is. There's got to be.
You just gotta work through it and find it.
Where we live here in this area, Tim, in our home county, there is not 1 square foot of public land to hunt in this county. Not one. It's all private land, and everything for 2 or 3 counties around is leased up. So that's why
is either leased or the amount of public hunting land is smaller. And so you pick and choose when to hunt it because it could be like a pumpkin patch.
Right. So those dynamics are tough to work through. In talking, I made this comment over on Lincoln's page. They were talking about property values are in CWD zones right now. He says it's really killing property values because they're going to come through. At least this is the talk that they're going to come through and they're going to really take a hit on the deer population. And people don't want to hunt in a CWD zone. I mean, they just don't.
Right.
They don't want to go shoot a deer that's got CWD. So there's all those dynamics that are working right now. And he's like, what do we do? I said, you know what? I said, start getting the surrounding landowners together and go to your tax board meeting. And when they have the tax, tax assessor there, go in and petition them. Say, look, man, property values are dropping here, and put the heat on them. Say, I want my taxes reduced. And when that starts happening, the tax assessor, the people in the local government are going to say, hey, Michigan, we got these people knocking on our door now wanting taxes dropped.
That's a good one.
And put the heat back on the DNR back door wise to start managing the deer herd.
Right, exactly. To get better talking with the public as to what's going on.
Absolutely. Put heat in different areas.
There you go.
So,
isn't that like isn't the saying one more than one way to skin a cat?
Yes.
There you go.
And I think we need to take our last break on that.
Let's do it.
So we're going to step outside. We're going to take our last break. We come back. We'll wrap up the show. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show, everybody. Some more good banter here in the break.
Absolutely.
Tim Sias from West Virginia was talking about the land and the issues with leasing. And in his area, he said there's no farmers. It's all land companies.
It's private land and coal companies with very little timber companies.
So big tracts of land owned. Coal mining and things of that nature, and like he's talking about when leasing. So that's land that they have access to. If it's leased up, they're not going to be able to hunt it.
Right, exactly. And Patrick Lloyd says hello, and what a day. Hopefully that's a good what a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah.
And then we're talking in the break, too. Jim Miller brought up the fact that here in Michigan, in our local area, we lost our HAP hunting lands in Genesee and Lapeer counties in Michigan. And HAP land is Hunter Access Program. What that is the state would pay money to a landowner to give access for hunters to go and hunt that private land.
Right.
And depending on the size of the land, you might be able to put 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, depending
10.
on what size acreage they had.
Yeah, depending on the acreage.
They would say, okay, I don't know what the numbers are exactly. Let's say 20 equaled 4 or something like that. But yeah.
And Tony just asked, what is a good max yard to shoot a deer and turkey with a bow? That is dependent upon you. Let's jump back into that for just a second, because that's a good question. Talking about a new hunter and finding out what that effective range is and what you're comfortable shooting. For Danny, he might be able to shoot 30 or 40 yards comfortably and ethically. Me, I might be able to shoot only 20 or 25. And that's something you have to determine upon your own ability and what you're comfortable shooting. I've been practicing and extending my effective range for the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm pretty comfortable shooting 40, 50 yards, but, I'm probably not going to take a 50-yard shot right now. For me, that's maximum range, and I'm probably going to dial it back to about 40 yards.
Well, that's the thing, and this is Tony. This is exactly what you're going to be working on for the next couple months. You're going to be determining your effective range, depending on, like for turkey with a bow. What are you comfortable shooting? Now, remember, you're shooting at a smaller target over distance. And you're just going to have to figure that out and say, okay, 25 yards. Mm-hmm. Now, you'll see, like with guns, guys taking 60, 70-yard shots. But you got to realize they've probably been practicing those, with the extended range loads and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, you're talking about shotgun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now bringing it back to the bow, same thing. What do you feel comfortable shooting at that time? Is it 20, 30? If you're practiced, maybe 35. You got to figure that out.
Right.
Then you got to take that knowledge and you got to take it out there and you got to start applying, because there isn't yardage markers.
Right.
So you got to start learning how to read, or maybe getting a rangefinder. Start rangefinding some, when you're sitting there, items that says, okay, if they're at that tree, that's 15 yards, and where to shoot them.
Having visual markers out there.
Absolutely.
Patrick Cloyd just commented as well. He says Hatland in Berrien County, which is here in southwestern Michigan, is gone. DNR would not re-up them. And that's what I remember here about Genesee and Lapeer County, was the fact that it was, I think it was budgetary issues that they did not re-up those programs. And if I don't want to say it because I'm not exactly sure why, but I think it has to do with the outbreak of CWD.
Is that what it was?
I think. I don't know. I don't know where that money's being spent now, and that's something I need to find out, I guess. Tim come back and says, but we do have a new WMA that was developed for our elk program that can be hunted on, so that's good. So they're opening up other opportunities over there in West Virginia as well. And he says very low poundage for turkeys. Yeah, actually, the biggest thing is shot placement on a turkey with a bow. That is so crucial.
So Tony Thompson says, but if you get too close to a deer or turkey, you can spook them.
Absolutely.
So here's where being in an enclosed blind with a turkey helps you tremendously.
Doing your scouting ahead of time, knowing where they transition from, and that's why it's important to go to a turkey workshop to figure out how to find them.
Yep, and you go to the one with Jim Miller, and I bet you he'll take the time to help you out as much as you need, because Jim's that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. We've been friends with him now for years, and
a long time, 10, 12 years probably.
Right, and when you're inside a blind, you can get away with a little bit more, and that's the way to go.
Yep, absolutely, especially if you're going to use a bow.
Right.
So a lot of good talk tonight.
Absolutely, a lot of good talk. And not just in the state of Michigan. We're talking all the way down to West Virginia, over to Wisconsin.
I can't read that last comment there when it pops up.
Okay, Patrick Lloyd shot a nice doe today. Lots of blood. Tracked her over to the vineyard. Ooh, vineyard. Sign stopped, looked over for 6 hours, can't find her. Arrow hit a limb and made bad shot. Bad day. Where did you hit her?
Yeah, color of blood. I'd look for color of blood. That'll tell you something. How much blood, he said he found the arrow?
Said he found the arrow.
Okay, so that's passed through.
Well, depended. Mm-hmm. Do you have, my bet is it might not have been a kill shot, because I've had those. I had blood, but we hit her underneath the spine, but above all the vitals.
Yeah, I know somebody else that did that down south of here.
Okay.
Friend of ours. I won't mention any names, but that's a possibility.
Yeah. So
you know what? I know how that feels.
Oh, absolutely. We've had those happen.
I've lost a couple deer before, and
I'm almost thinking if he had a tracking dog over on that side of town.
Yeah, if you know somebody that's got a tracking dog,
it'll be a good time.
Might cost you a little bit of money though, unless you got a good friend that's got a dog that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be an option. Is check with the guys around the area. Get on a local forum. I know doesn't on Facebook, isn't there Michigan tracking dogs?
Yes,
deer tracking dogs. There's a forum or a page or a group. Check with them and see if there's anybody over on that side of the state. So I would check with them.
He says it was...
especially if you've got somebody that's got a young dog that's training and looking to get some experience and put a dog on a track to get some experience, get their nose on something, that might be a good way as well to check around and see.
He says it was bright red, no foam.
That's good. Dark red, usually liver shot and back.
Yeah, there's several groups out here. Michigan Deer Trackers, Michigan Deer Trackers and Hounds.
Yeah, those are the two that come to mind. So I would check those and see what you...
Oh.
They got a map with people listed?
Yes, they do.
There you go. So there you go. I would check with them, Patrick. And, yep, and Charles says it happens, shake it off, and better luck next time. It does. I got online call, 4 trackers, no call back. Sunday night might be a little... You think on a Sunday night, though, that the guys they're probably in a tree stand as well.
Exactly.
Quite possibly. But
you did the right thing, Patrick. Got online, got a hold of some trackers. You're making the attempt to do it.
The attempt, and that's all you can do. You give it your best effort, and you went out and tried to find it. I've beat myself up. Matter of fact, there was a time when I wanted to hang my bow up and quit because of a situation similar. But you got to get back on the horse, so to speak, and get back after it. Shake it off, and do your due diligence and see if you can find it. Another thing I would do is tomorrow morning, if you've got time, get out there and start listening for crows. Listening for the crows will find that deer if it is down.
Yeah, they will,
and they'll start making a racket. And that's one really good way. Blackbirds the same way. Is they will flock to that carcass. And use that for food. So that's one way I would try to at least maybe pinpoint where it's at.
Yep, exactly.
So all good talk.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're pushing up right here towards the end of the show. So what's coming up next week?
You know what? Next week. It's another week in October.
I got to work Saturday again, so I can't get away.
I will be going down to Columbus, Ohio on Friday, but I'll be back. You know what? Maybe over the weekend... they're having that hunt in Ohio this week.
That's right.
Something
with the veterans.
Yes.
Dan Yasa helps out with that group.
Maybe we'll either get him or the other gentleman on, find out how it went.
Right. There you go.
Give them a shout.
And Danny and I are starting a project this month, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock p.m. I've made the big leap and going to start working out again and getting back on track to get myself in better physical shape.
And I'm going to join him.
So he's already a member at this place, and it's relatively inexpensive. And now that we're kind of on the same schedule, a lot closer.
Yeah, a lot closer, yes.
So,
but you know what? It'll get us some time to get some exercise in, especially, we do exercise, walk in the woods and everything, but now we can routinely do it during the week.
Yep. So last time I was at the doctor, I put on way too much weight. So with deer season coming up, tree stand climbing, I'm not going to lose it all by the time I go up in 2 weeks. I know that. But the fact is, I got to start somewhere, and now's the time.
We might have you looking svelte for turkey season.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. We'll see.
There you go.
So, all right. For those of you on the podcast, that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back again next Sunday night.
And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Windscent Hunting Scents,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stands.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.